Welcome all. This is a class about antiretroviral drugs. So I am Dr. Mallikarjun. So these antiretroviral drugs are active against human immunodeficiency virus, which is a retrovirus. They are useful in prolonging and improving the quality of life and postponing complications of acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS, or AIDS related complex, which will be termed ARC. But remember, these drugs do not cure the infection. So the clinical efficacy of antiretroviral drugs is primarily monitored by plasma HIV RNA assays and CD4 lymphocyte count, which are normally carried out at regular intervals. So HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. So this HIV is a single-stranded RNA retrovirus. So this can carry out reverse transcription. So that means the proviral DNA from viral RNA. So there will be reverse transcription. So normally RNA is transcripted from DNA. So here what happens is there will be reverse transcription. So development of proviral DNA from viral RNA. So with the help of viral RNA dependent DNA polymerases, what they will do? Retrovirus. So they will do reverse transcription. So they will make proviral DNA from RNA. So the primary cells that will be attacked by HIV are CD4 plus helper T lymphocytes, and the CD4 cell declines less than 200 cells per microliter, and the cell mediated immunity is lost. So because of this, there will be increased opportunistic infections, to which the victim ultimately dies unless treated. So currently eradication at present is impossible, and these HIV mainly of two strains. So this is the cycle by which the HIV replication occurs. So first step is binding. So binding. So here you can see on the surface of a T cell, HIV binds to the CXCR4 or CCR5 receptor. So here you can see this is called binding. So this is a T cell, so to which the HIV virus will attach. Binding. So receptors which are involved in binding are CCR5 or CXCR4. So the binding will be done with the help of this GP41 and GP120 glycoproteins. And the second step is fusion. So this is fusion. So the virus fuses with the host cell, so and releases its genetic material, that is RNA, into the cell. So this is the RNA. So this will be released into the host cell. And then third step is reverse transcription. So this RNA is a single stranded RNA of HIV virus. So this will be converted to a double stranded DNA. So because of enzyme reverse transcriptase. So and then this DNA will enter into the nucleus. So this is the fourth step, integration. So once the HIV DNA enters the cell's nucleus, the enzyme integrase, so cuts the human DNA. So the cell DNA will be cutted. So because of this, the HIV DNA will integrate into the cell's DNA, and then transcription and translation. So the enzyme RNA polymerase makes the RNA copies of DNA. So HIV RNA is also inserted into the new virus particles and are processed and translated into HIV proteins. So transcription and then translation, and then finally assembly. So the long protein chains are cut into individual proteins by the enzyme HIV protease. So a new virus is assembled with these proteins. This is the new virus. So with these proteins and HIV RNA will be inserted and they will be released outside. So the new virus particles are released from the host cell, so taking with it part of its cell membrane and capable of infecting other cells. So first binding. So here CXCR4 and CCR5 receptors are important, and then fusion, and then reverse transcription. So here reverse transcript is important. So and then integration, so which is because of integrase, and then transcription and translation. So RNA polymerase, so assembly, HIV protease. So these are the enzymes and other receptors which will be targeted by antiretroviral drugs. So antiretroviral drugs. So these are the drugs which are active against HIV, and these are useful in prolonging and improving the quality of life. So remember, now there is no cure. So eradication is not possible at present. So we use these drugs to postpone the complications of AIDS and AIDS related complex. So clinical efficacy is monitored by plasma HIV RNases and CD4 lymphocyte count. So the aim of anti-HIV therapy is to cause maximal suppression of viral replication for the maximal period of time that is possible. So maximal suppression of replication for maximal period of time. So for this, antiretroviral drugs are always used in combination of at least 3 drugs, and regimen have to be changed over time, because continuously using the same regimen there will be chances of development of resistance will be more, and lifelong therapy is required. So the first antiretrovirus drug that is found is Zidovudine. So it is made available from 1987. So over the past 25 years, a large number of drugs belonging to 3 classes has been produced and are extensively used. So the 2 established targets for HIV attacks are: one, HIV reverse transcriptase, and another one is HIV protease. So these are the 2 established targets. So for HIV reverse transcriptase we will use NRTIs and NNRTIs. So NRTIs means nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, and NNRTIs means non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. So and then next one is HIV protease. So these are the 3 classes of drugs. So protease inhibitors, NRTIs and NNRTIs, which are extensively used. So In addition, some newer targets has also been exploited, which is fusion of viral envelope with plasma membrane of CD4 cells. So through which the HIV RNA normally enters the cell. So this is one more target, and then chemokine core receptor, that is CCR5. So which are present on the host cell. These will provide anchoring for surface proteins of the virus. And then one more target is HIV integrase. So viral enzymes which will integrate the proviral DNA into the host DNA. So these are used in patients who have failed several other regimens. So normally we will use NRTase, NNRTase and protease inhibitors. So antiretroviral drugs. So nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. They are zidovudine, tidanosine, stavudine, lamivudine, abacavir, tenofovir. And then non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, that is nevirapine, efavirenz, delavirdine, etravirenz, rilpivirine. And then protease inhibitors, ritonavir, atazanavir, indinavir, nelfinavir, spavinavir, amprinavir, lopinavir. So entry or fusion inhibitors, that is enfuviritide. So CCR5 receptor inhibitor, that is Maraviroc. And then integrase inhibitor, that is Raltegravir and Dolutegravir. So these are the common sites of action of these drugs. So at the level of entry inhibitors will be used. So reverse transcriptase inhibitors will be used, and then integrase inhibitors can be used in case of integration of genome. So protease will be inhibited by protease inhibitors, and maturation of this viral RNA will be inhibited by maturation inhibitors. So here first one is nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. So they are zidovudine, didenosine, stavudine, lamivudine, abacavir and tenofovir. Zidovudine, this is a prototypic drug. So it is a thymidine analog. So the prototype NRTA. So after phosphorylation in host cell, this zidovudine will be converted to zidovudine triphosphate. So which can selectively inhibit viral reverse transcriptase in preference to cellular DNA polymerase. So here you can see the single stranded viral RNA, so normally converted to double stranded proviral DNA. So virus directed reverse transcriptase. So this will be helpful for this conversion. So if we use zidovudine, this will inhibit the conversion of this single stranded viral RNA into double stranded proviral DNA. So remember, this zidovudine after phosphorylation into zidovudine triphosphate only it will act. So this won't show any effect on proviral DNA that has already been integrated. So it is effective only against retroviruses. So zidovudine can itself gets incorporated into the proviral DNA and can terminate the chain elongation process. So resistance to this zidovudine is mainly because of point mutations which can alter the reverse transcriptase engine. So important points about pharmacokinetics of this drug is they are rapidly absorbable, bioavailability is approximately 65%, and this zidovudine is cleared by hepatic glucuronidation, and unexchanged drug along with the metabolite is excreted in urine. So plasma protein binding is 30% and CSF level is approximately 50% of that in plasma. So it can cross placenta and can found in milk. So dosage in adults 300 mg BD, and in children 180 mg per meter square. So maximum 200 mg 6 to 8 hourly can be given. So adverse effects. So this zidovudine is toxicity is mainly due to partial inhibition of cellular mitochondrial DNA polymerase gamma. So dose related, they can show anemia and neutropenia. So when zidovudine at start we have when started for the patient, he may experience nausea, anorexia, abdominal pain, headache, insomnia and myalgias. So infrequent adverse effects are myopathy, pigmentation of nails, lactic acidosis, hepatomegaly, convulsions and encephalopathy. So interactions. So paracetamol along with zidovudine can cause increase in toxicity of zidovudine. So this is probably by competing for glucuronidation. So the drugs which can enhance the toxicity of zidovudine are azole antifungals, which will inhibit the metabolism of zidovudine, and other nephrotoxic and myelosuppressive drugs can also cause increasing toxicity of this zidovudine along with probenecid. So mutual antagonism is shown between stavudine and zidovudine. So uses of zidovudine. So HIV infected patients only in combination with at least 2 other antiretroviral drugs can only be used. So remember, only in combination with at least 2 other antiretroviral drugs. So one of the 2 optional, this zidovudine is one of the 2 optional NRTs used by NACO for its first line triple drug antiretroviral regimen. So previously monotherapy has been employed. So in case of monotherapy, HIV RNA titer is reduced to undetectable levels. So CD4 count has been increased and immune status is also increased. So opportunistic infections become less and neurological manifestations of AIDS has been decreased and new Kaposi lesions also decreased. But this zidovudine, when used alone, more than 50% of the patients became non-responsive to zidovudine within 1 to 2 years. So that is why now we should only use zidovudine only in combination with at least 2 other antiretroviral drugs. So standard choice for prophylaxis, post-exposure prophylaxis of HIV, this zidovudine is there, and as also for the mother to offspring transmission also we can limit by using this zidovudine. So dedanosine, so it is a purine nucleoside analog. So it also intracellularly converted to dedanosine triphosphates, and this dedanosine will compete with ATP for incorporation into viral DNA. So it inhibits HIV reverse transcriptase and terminates proviral DNA. So antiretroviral activity of dedanosine is equal to zidovudine. So mutationally resistance develops, but only few zidovudine resistance mutants are non-responsive to dedanosine. Otherwise, all are respondent. So it can show higher toxicity than other nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. So oral absorption of this drug is erratic and it is excreted unchanged. So dose is 400 mg per day and 250 mg per day. So this will be dependent on the body weight. So 1 hour or 2 hours after meals it will be given. Common adverse effects will be shown are peripheral neuropathy and rarely acute pancreatitis, which is dose related, and others are diarrhea, abdominal pain, dry mouth and nausea. Lamivudine, that is 3-TC. So this is also phosphorylated intracellularly and inhibits HIV reverse transcriptase, HBV DNA polymerase. So incorporation into DNA results in chain termination. So systemic toxicity of this lamivudine is low. So resistance to this lamivudine is shown because of point mutations in HIV reverse transcriptase and HBV DNA polymerase. So lamivudine resistant mutants are slow growing and have lower virulence. That is why it is one advantage. So oral bioavailability is high with lamivudine and plasma T-half ranges from 6 to 8 hours and it is mainly excreted unchanged in urine. So this lamivudine is equally effective to zidovudine. So it synergizes with most other NRTIs for HIV and this forms it as an essential component of all first line triple drug regimens and a first line drug for chronic hepatitis B. So for chronic hepatitis B, 100 mg OD can be given once daily. For HIV infection, so 150 mg BD or 300 mg OD can be given. So it is well tolerated and has low toxicity with high priority in use. So general side effects are few: headache, fatigue, rashes, nausea, anorexia, abdominal pain. So pancreatitis and neuropathy are rare. So hematological toxicity does not occur. So abacavir, ABC. So this is a guanosine analog and it is clinically potent ARV drug. So after intracellular conversion to carbovir triphosphate, so this will be incorporated into proviral DNA and terminates chain elongation. So when used this abacavir, there is rapid reduction in plasma HIV RNA count and rapid rise in CD4 cell count has been noticed. So resistance to abacavir will be developed slowly. So the common hypersensitivity reactions that will be shown are rashes, fever, abdominal pain, bowel upset, flu-like respiratory and constitutional symptoms can be seen. So some population can also show this massive release of TNF alpha. So this has been found to have some genetic basis. So in those cases we should not repeat the abacavir again. So dose is 300 mg BD or 600 mg OD. Tenofovir. This is the only nucleotide analog. So rest are nucleoside. So this drug is relatively newer addition to the clinically used anti-HIV drugs. So it is also active against HBV. So NACO includes tenofovir in its first line 3-drug regimen as an alternative when either zidovudine or nevirapine or efavirenz cannot be used due to toxicity or contraindications. Remember, this is a nucleotide analog. Non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, that are NNRTIs. Examples: nevirapine and efavirenz. So these are nucleoside unrelated compounds. So these directly inhibit HIV reverse transcriptase. So this is a non-competitive inhibitor. So without the need for intracellular phosphorylation. So all NRTIs, they will go through this intracellular phosphorylation, but these drugs doesn't need intracellular phosphorylation. These are more potent than zidovudine on HIV, but they do not act on strain 2 of HIV. So they only mostly show more action on HIV strain 1, and these drugs are not indicated in case of HIV 2 strains. So cross resistance between nevirapine and efavirenz is common. So nevirapine extensively metabolized by CYP3A4 and to a lesser extent by CYP2B6, whereas efavirenz is completely metabolized and mainly by CYP2B6 and a small fraction by cytochrome 3A4. So both are enzyme inducers and cause auto-induction of their own metabolism. So you need to remember, so both are enzyme inducers and cause auto-induction of their own metabolism. So rifampicin induces nevirapine metabolism and makes it ineffective, but has little effect on efavirenz levels. So either nevirapine or efavirenz is included in the first line triple drug regimen used by NACO. So nevirapine initially 200 mg per day will be given, and it can be increased after 2 weeks to 200 mg twice daily. So this is called dose escalation. So common adverse effects are rashes, others are nausea, headache and skin reactions. So fever and rising transaminases can also occur dose dependent. So nevirapine is potentially hepatotoxic. Efavirenz, it will inhibit CYP3A4. So its side effects are headache, rashes, dizziness, insomnia and a variety of neuropsychiatric symptoms. So symptoms decreases over time. So efavirenz is contraindicated in case of pregnancy and in women who are likely to get pregnant, since this efavirenz is a teratogenic drug. So dose is 600 mg OD on empty stomach. So retroviral protease inhibitors, PIs. So these are atazanavir, indinavir, nelfinavir, squavinavir, ritonavir and lopinavir. So these are involved in the production of structural proteins and enzymes. So including reverse transcriptase and integrase. So the polyprotein here is broken by this protease enzyme. So mechanism of action, these protease inhibitors bind to the active site of protease molecule. So interferes with its cleavage function. So HIV infected cells produce immature non-infectious viral progeny, hence prevents further rounds of infection. So these protease inhibitors are effective both in newly as well as chronically infected cells. So oral bioavailability of PIs is variable. So T-half ranges from 2 to 8 hours, and these are extensively metabolized by CYP3A4 except nelfinavir, which is a substrate for CYP2C19. So all protease inhibitors are potent inhibitors of CYP3A4. So nelfinavir, lopinavir and rotinavir. So these are inhibitors and can cause inhibition of their own metabolism. So combination of NRTIs with protease inhibitors is effective. So triple therapy is more effective than double therapy. So current recommendation is protease inhibitor has to be given in combination with either 2 NRTIs or 1 NRTI plus 1 NRTI. So drug interactions with them are common and often unpredictable. So problem in their use is These protease inhibitors needs large tablet load. So patient acceptability and compliance are very low for these drugs. So adverse effects of protease inhibitors. These are gastrointestinal intolerance, asthenia, headache, dizziness, limb and facial tingling. So numbness and rashes. So rarely these can show lipodystrophy, dyslipidemia and insulin resistance. So diabetes may be exacerbated. So there will be increased risk of urinary calculi will be more with indinamide. So entry are fusion inhibitors, that is enfuirated. So HIV derived synthetic peptide. So this acts by binding to HIV envelope transmembrane glycoprotein GP41. So which is involved in fusion of viral and cellular membranes. So it is not active against HIV type 2. So no cross resistance has been seen and it has been administered subcutaneously twice daily. So used as an add-on drug to an optimized regimen. The injections are painful and cause local nodules or cysts. The cost and inconvenience are more prohibitive. So here you can see this is a HIV cell and these are receptors. So this attachment to CD4 cell will occur. So entry or fusion inhibitors if you use. So this is the membrane HIV envelope. These will stop the fusion of these viral particles to the membrane. So CCR5 receptor inhibitors. So chemokine co-receptor 5. So this is the CCR5 receptor. So example for this is Maraviroc. So this is a novel anti-HIV drug. So it targets the host cell's CCR5 receptor and it will block it. So no effect on HIV strains that are CXCR4 receptor trophic. So remember, they will be show effect only on those which attaches to the CCR5 receptor. So CCR5 trophic. So if which are attached to CXCR4 receptor, they won't have effect. So added to optimized background therapy in patients who have CCR5 trophic HIV infection only, we use this Maraviroc, that is a CCR5 receptor inhibitor. So this Maraviroc will show marked reduction in HIV RNA load and improvement in CD4 count. It is orally active, no cross resistance with any other ARV has been shown. But before use of this Maraviroc, CCR5 tropism has to be proven. It is good tolerability, it will show. Since it blocks one of the human chemokine receptor, there is concern about impaired immune surveillance and increased risk of infection or malignancy. Integrase inhibitors, that is raltegravir. So raltegravir is an orally active drug. So mechanism of action inhibits the integrase enzyme. So it is active against both HIV-1 and HIV-2. Because of its unique mechanism of action, no cross resistance has been shown. So this integrase inhibitor will blocks the insertion of HIV DNA into CD4 cell DNA. So addition of raltegravir can cause disappearance of HIV RNA from circulation and improve CD4 cell count. So it is as a component of initial triple drug regimen along with two NRTIs. It shows good efficacy in untreated patients. General side effects are non-specific. Myopathy is a potentially toxic which can be shown. Some antiretroviral combinations. So lamivudine plus zidovudine, lamivudine plus tavudine, lamivudine plus zidovudine plus nevirapine, lamivudine plus tavudine plus nevirapine. So HIV treatment principles and guidelines. So initially anti-HIV drugs were used singly, so leading to emergence of resistance. So by understanding the biology of HIV infection and availability of several potent drugs, so now it is mandated to use HAART with combination of 3 or more drugs, that is highly active antiretroviral therapy. So in which we need to use combination of at least 3 or more drugs. So now monotherapy is contraindicated. So currently available regimens cannot eradicate HIV. The goal of therapy is to maximally and durably inhibit viral replication and maintain effective immune response. So greater the suppression of viral replication, lesser is the chance of emergence of drug resistant virus will be there. So effectively ART prevents sexual transmission of HIV and also reduces infectivity of the patient for other persons, thus serves to limit transmission. So initiating antiretroviral therapy. So till recently WHO and NACO recommended delaying start of antiretroviral therapy in asymptomatic HIV infected subjects. So until the CD4 count is less than 350 cells per microliter, or until symptoms or any opportunistic infection has been appeared. So but now it is realized that HIV infection we need to start immediately these drugs, because the HIV infection start damaging the immune system from the very beginning. So previously if the CD4 count is less than 350 or any opportunistic infection is there or any other symptoms is there, then only these drugs will be used. But now if you have if any patient has been diagnosed with HIV, we need to start the ARV immediately, because it starts damaging the immune system from the very strong evidence has emerged after 2013. So it shows that early institution of antiretroviral therapy is associated with better clinical outcome. So chronically virus infected CD4 cells will be slow, so lower chances of drug resistance, so reduction in risk for serious illness or death to less than half, and then transmission of HIV to uninfected sexual partner is also curtailed. So you need to remember now the guideline is early start and lifelong therapy. So it is now becoming more acceptable to the PLH, that is patients living with HIV. So early start and lifelong antiretroviral therapy. So the WHO 2016 guideline has recommended antiretroviral therapy as soon as possible after diagnosis. So R should be started in all individuals including pregnant and breastfeeding women. So adolescents as well as children. So irrespective of CD4 cell count or HIV RNA load or the clinical stage of the disease. And this is accepted by the government of India and is being implemented by NACO. So whatever the situation is, you need to start antiretroviral drugs. The WHO further recommends lifelong continuation of ART in all infected patients. So regardless of normalization of CD4 count or undetectable HIV RNA or absence of opportunistic infection or other comorbidities. So just start ART if the patient is diagnosed to have HIV. So therapeutic regimens. So whenever ART is instituted, it should be aggressive with at least 3 anti-HIV drugs. The optimum response to any regimen is the reduction of plasma HIV RNA to undetectable levels, that is less than 50 copies per microliter. So restoration of CD4 cell count to near normal within 6 months. So by this we will see the response of the regimen. So therapy with 3 drugs is considered optimal, and addition of a 4th drug offered little or no additional burden, but can be tried if there is any failed regimen is there. So the first line regimen, that is universally includes 2 NRTIs plus 1 NNRTI. So 2 nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors and 1 non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. So preferred NRTIs are lamivudine, abacavir, tenofovir and emtricitabine. So NRTIs, efavirenz is preferred over nevirapine. So etravirine is reserved for class who have not responded to these NNRTIs. So nevirapine should be avoided in patients with hepatic dysfunction and in those receiving rifampicin. So you need to remember the first line regimen universally includes 2 NRTIs plus 1 NNRTI. Thank you.